James Turner for the untouchable True School Sports. Let's go, baby. Bow!
Be careful what you wish for because it can become a reality.
Yeah. The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? Boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. All right, so I wanted to sound off on what was a really, really important fight. Probably might be the highlight of the card, depending on who you ask. But an upset happened, and it was Rayo Valenzuela with an upset victory, split decision victory over Isak Pitbull Cruz. You know, congrats to him. Congrats to Robert Garcia and RGBA. You know, I've been told by one or two people that I'd be hating on Robert Garcia fighters and quote unquote talking shit, but I don't hate nobody. Congratulations, Robert Garcia, 15 world champions as a coach now, and I could be 16 if Virgil beats Boachuk. So you know, obviously Robert Garcia, we know what he brings to the table as a coach, but nonetheless, this is a fight where Rayo Valenzuela was written off, and he was written off because of past things that have happened in his career. You know, he had a fight with a blown up 130-pounder and Chris Colbert that I think he left too close, and people cried robbery that fight. He lost. I didn't think it was robbery, but you know, the first time. But the second time, he made sure there was no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He knocked Chris Colbert the hell out. He also, before that, a couple fights before that, had been stopped by Edwin De Los Santos. And he had just been a fighter that was very up and down. I mean, I remember when he fought the guy, Danny Barrios, threw a bunch of punches, and that was a pretty good, consistent performance from him. But Rayo Valenzuela in his career has been an explosive fighter, a guy with a lot of potential, a guy that was definitely exciting, but one of those guys that you kind of questioned if he was ever going to be able to put it together in the big fight. And luckily for him, he was still very young, and he had made some changes in camp. You know, he got Robert Garcia because he wasn't always Robert Garcia fighter. He went from being with Jose Benavidez Sr., and then he switched to Robert. And you know, RGBA, one thing of Robert Garcia Boxing Academy is you get great sparring over there. They're renowned for their sparring and the gym culture. So he came out in this fight with a really good game plan. You know, Pitbull Cruz, he's shorter than me. You know, he's pretty short, stocky guy. He's built like a fire hydrant. Likes to loop his punches, throw a lot of overhands. And in doing those things, sometimes he jumps off the floor, sacrifices his, positioning, and he hasn't had a fighter really exploit his positioning the way it needed to be. And Rayo is a very tall, rangy, explosive southpaw. But in this fight, he wasn't just the tall, long, rangy, explosive southpaw. He was the tall, long, rangy, explosive, counter-punching southpaw, defensively sound southpaw. Spent a lot of time in this fight operating out that Philly shell, rolling a lot of the Isak Cruz punches off the shoulders and off his gloves. And Pitbull Cruz could not really impose his will on the fight the way he's accustomed to. Pitbull Cruz is accustomed to pushing guys back, getting in their chest. Pitbull Cruz normally, I mean, he has a pretty good tight high guard defense, but with Rayo being so crafty and explosive out of that southpaw stance, you know, he found holes in the high guard defense of Pitbull Cruz, and he outboxed him. He outboxed him in a great way. I thought Rayo did a great job of holding his ground in the center of the ring and controlling where the real estate in where the fight was fought. You know, they call that in boxing being the ring general, and that he was. So let this be another example in boxing, ladies and gentlemen. We can't be so quick to write these fighters off. Like Jared Anderson got his ass on this card. I'm not writing him off for the future. And Rayo Valenzuela, he got written off because of things that happened in the past in his career. But he showed his mental fortitude. He showed that with his dedication to the sport, his mental fortitude and his belief in himself, that he was not going to be defined by his losses. And he fought a guy in Pitbull Cruz who a lot of people were rating very highly. And I was very surprised. I'll be honest with you. Most of the time when fights are close, decisions don't surprise me. This one genuinely surprised me because Isak Cruz is a money-making machine. I mean, this guy is not just a fighter. He's not just a Mexican fan favorite. He is a machine as far as ticket selling. A lot of people in that crowd were there to see him. And he really resonates with the Mexican audience. And with him being a champion, having a belt, and with Gervonta Davis, you know, and him and a rematch looming, I just thought there's no way with the kind of economic draw that fight could be. There's no way they're going to give it to Rayo, and they did. So every now and then, boxing actually goes ahead and gets it right, and you got to be very appreciative of these types of times because they don't come around very often. And truth be told, I think Pitbull Cruz has developed a cult-like following to the point where even if without a belt, he could go back down to 35, and that fight could still be big. So maybe that was part of the reason why Rayo got the decision. But nonetheless, I'm just happy they got it right. Maybe Rayo winds up becoming a tank opponent now, but gotta love it. He's had a very interesting career to follow, and in the post-fight interview, he was asked about what he wants to do next. He said, "Look, I've never ducked and dodged anything. I never shied away from any challenge. Whatever the boxing fans want me to fight, that's where I'll fight. So look, I know I'm not representative of all boxing fans, but I'll tell you this: there's a guy that I truly believe Pitbull Cruz never had any intention of fighting because he didn't bring the financial incentive to the table for Pitbull Cruz to risk what he had on the line for this kind of dangerous challenge. But Rial Valenzuela has shown throughout his career he's got balls all the way down to his ankles, and I have no doubt he'd take this fight. So for me, if I had it my way, Ismael Barroso is currently the regular champion. He's fighting on the undercard of Naya Inoue versus TJ Doheny on September 3rd. If Barroso comes through that fight, I would like to see Rayo Valenzuela take on Ismael Barroso for the title because Barroso deserves a shot at the title again after what happened to him in the Rolly fight, and I think Barroso is one of the most dangerous fighters in the 140 division. So I would like that fight, and if Barroso is not victorious against Andy Hiroka, then you know what? I would like to see Andy Hiroka fight Rayo Valenzuela because Andy Hiroka, I think, is an explosive, fun, southpaw style. I think with Japan in the era that it's in boxing, I think it'd be nice to see a Japanese fighter above 122 pounds, above the featherweight limit, like Hiroka, get some U.S. exposure against a fun, fan-friendly Mexican style like Rayo Valenzuela. And I think that'd be a great fight. Andy Hiroka versus Rayo Valenzuela makes a lot of sense. So whoever comes out of that fight on September 3rd, Rayo against either Barroso or Andy Hiroka to me is fine. But I definitely think now he's definitely going to be a Gervonta Davis opponent. I know Kenneth Sims Jr. is the number one contender, so maybe if he wants to do a voluntary, that's a high-risk, low-reward fight. Kenneth Sims Jr. can really fight, but he's not a big name. So I don't know if they're going to want to do that fight, but that'd be a good fight. Kenneth Sims Jr. has deserved a shot for some time now. He's a really good fighter. So maybe that's an option. There's no shortage of what he could do. He could unify the titles with maybe a Liam Paro, something like that. So congrats to Rayo Valenzuela. Isaac Cruz is going to be okay no matter what. He's going to sell tickets. I think since the Tank fight, and this is where you got to give Sean Gibbons and them some credit because he was moved in such a strategic fashion. Yes, the boxing nerds like myself will criticize and say he knocked out, blown up 130 pounders like Eduardo Ramirez after he fought Tank, and they protected him. But that protection came with some great things in the back end. And I think he's established himself with a now cult-like fan base. He's won a world title. He's at high level now. So I think Pitbull Cruz, just so long as he fights in the Southern California or any Mexican area, is going to sell tickets because he has that kind of fan base. So maybe he'll be all right. But this moment in time belongs to Rayo Valenzuela. It belongs to his career. He's a great example to the young fighters to not get down when you lose a couple fights early in your career. You can rebound if you got it within your heart and your spirit to keep going forward. So shout out to him. Shout out to Robert Garcia on his 15th world champion. Shout out to the whole team there. Shout out to KO Christie, everyone. Shout out to the whole Robert Garcia team. And let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think about Rayo becoming champion? And who do you want to see him fight next? And what do you think is next for Pitbull Cruz? Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys. Thank you for watching another video on the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm at the Boxing Hall of Fame out here in Canada, New York. And for more great boxing content just like this video, make sure you click and subscribe right over here.